And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Jupiter Rescue. Now, Jupiter Rescue is a game from Twilight Creations. They're most well known for their games of zombies, which come with piles of miniature zombies. Well, this one comes with piles of miniature humans and creeps. Okay, this is a cooperative game, and in this game, players are playing the role of robots who are there to fight against the creeps and rescue these humans who are apparently not smart enough to do it for themselves. It's a very interesting game. Let me show you how it plays. Now the goal of this game is to rescue 28 colonists. You can see the little colonists here, who they all look like they're disco dancing right here. They're actually making a type of pose. And so you're going to put them inside these inner tiles. You're going to build this randomly. Now what's interesting about this game is you can adjust the difficulty of it. These are all the different rooms in the tiles, and they're connected different ways. You can flip all of them or some of them over, and you see it's the exact same setup, but there's less connections. There's a little skull next to the number there to show that. So you can make it harder for you to move around the board, or you can play this way, which is the easiest. Each tile has a number on it, and some of the tiles have special features to them. All your robots are placed in this escape pod, and you guys can start anywhere on the side of the board. Players are going to draw some cards from a rescue deck. These cards are special abilities that you'll be able to play over the course of the game. You're going to take one of these special abilities and place it in front of yourself and put a chip of your color on that ability. That's something you can use all the time. Normally on your turn, when you use a card, it's discarded and it goes away. This one you can use consistently. So it's basically like a special ability that you have. Now on a player's turn, they have actions that they're going to take. 5 of them. Now these actions can be as simple as moving, so 1, 2, 3, or if there is a creeper, a bad guy, on your tile, anywhere on that tile, you can shoot him for an action. Or you can play cards for actions. You can also tell colonists what to do. See, these guys are dumb. They're afraid. But if you're on a tile where there's one of these dudes, or you're next to one, you can move them and have them move around, and what you're trying to do is get them into the escape pod. See, once the colonist has 7 people, the pod launches. At the end of your turn, these people are removed, you've rescued them, and you can make the pod, the escape pod, land anywhere else you want to try and rescue more people. So that's the good things that a player can do. He can move around, he can attack, he can command. You can also trade cards with someone on the same area where you're at. Now these cards will let you do all kinds of cool things. Like this bullhorn here lets you extend your command range over the whole colony. So no matter where you are, you can tell people where to go. This module control lets you move any module that has 2 open sides to another part in the colony. This one here I took as my special ability is swap, which says I can trade place with an adjacent colonist, robot, or creep. Normally you cannot move into the same space as somebody else. You can't move through them, which can be really annoying. Swap lets you get around that. Rocket boots lets you go as many spaces as you want in a straight line. Phase shift lets you re-roll the die, and we'll talk about why that's a good thing. Boost gives you an extra action each turn. The sniper, when you attack, you can kill any creeper on the same tile as your robot or any adjacent tile. Heat Seeker lets you kill a creep anywhere on the board. Of course, that costs 3 actions. But what's cool is that many of these cards combo. They show at the top what cards they combo with. And in fact, like with this Heat Seeker one here, if you play 2 of those together, instead of it costing 3 actions, it only costs 1 action. So it's neat that there's these different combos. Now, after a player goes, if there are any creeps on the board, and those creeps are next to colonists, they will change those colonists into a creep. So you have to be very careful, because you can see that once they come in here, it's going to be very dangerous, and we're going to start seeing the creep infestation really grow quickly. So we have to be very cautious on that. Then after you do the creep infestation, you'll roll a die. This die, if you roll 1 through 5, you'll look at the numbers on these tiles on the outside edge. I just rolled a 2, So on each 2, a creeper comes on the outside of that tile somehow. If there's multiple spaces, we can pick which one they come on. If the outside ones are already full, then you would add one inside the tile somewhere. Okay? If the entire tile fills up with creepers, then it automatically explodes and is removed from the game. That can actually cause the space station to split in half. Your robot, if he's on the spot, will prevent that from happening. So you got to be careful. These creepers are coming in, and even worse than that, you will then draw a new card from the deck, which is usually good, but some of these cards are actually negative cards. For example, a Surge adds a second creep to every tile where you just added a creep. And by the way, I said on a 1 through 5, if you roll 6, you add a creep to every tile where there's already a creep. A 6 plus a Surge can be really bad. A Power Grab adds a super creep to each of the unguarded power plants. The power plants are on tile 3s, so you place these here. Now these can be really annoying, because as long as these guys are sitting here, you have that many fewer cards that you're allowed to have in your hand. So you have to destroy these guys, get rid of them. Not to mention, if all the tiles where these guys are on are destroyed, you guys lose the game. And then you have command dishes. There's a card that makes the super creeps jump up on these command dishes. If you have a guy on any command dish, then your actions are reduced by 1. So one doesn't save. You have to get rid of all the guys in command dishes to survive. And that's basically the game. You're just going to take turn after turn after turn. As colonists get killed or converted into creeps, you'll place them on this colonist loss tracker, because once it gets to the middle, you cannot rescue 28 people. It's impossible, and you've lost. So there's 3 ways to lose. If all the command dishes are destroyed, or all the power centers are destroyed, or if you cannot rescue 28 people. To win, you have to get 28 people into the module, 7 at a time, and then you need to get all your robots in the module. You do that, you've saved enough people, and you've won the game. Folks, I am a big fan of this game. I really enjoy it. I love the vast amount of plastic. I've always liked all the plastic that Twilight Creations has put into their games. I haven't always enjoyed all the games as much, but this one was amazingly fun. I like the way, here's the things I like. I like how the difficulty level can be very interestingly scaled from super hard, less connections really makes it more difficult, to easy. I love the card concept where you have one card that you have that basically you can do that special ability all the time. It gives people a lot of different special abilities that can be had from game to game. And there's even a card that lets you switch them throughout the game. It's just a really cool idea. And it really encourages people talking back and forth as they go around and rescuing the different folks. The footprint of the box is not that big, and the gameplay itself is pretty simple. I would put this as a light medium weight in the cooperative category, somewhere between the Forbidden Island, Forbidden Desert, and Pandemic. It's not that hard to figure out, but I still think it offers options. And it's a satisfying thing. You're walking through blowing up robots, or I have Gigantic, which is a special ability. Whenever I move into a spot, I just automatically kill the creeps that are there. Rescuing people, and you're like, these people. And it plays fairly differently with fewer players and more players. When you play with more players, it sounds like, you have it, but you have to wait a long time till your turn comes. For that reason, I'm not a huge fan of the 6-player game. I just felt like too long I was sitting there waiting, while in a 3-player game, your turn comes by faster, but the 3 of you have to manage to cover the whole station, which can also be harder too. Very interesting. I think people will probably debate over which of these cards are the best, but they all have their right circumstances. The Bullhorn is a great one, being able to tell people where to go. There's a follow ability. When you move a colonist, one other colonist moves with him. Mix those 2 together, and you have some pretty cool things that you can do. And I like the fact that the card combos exist in this game. Very simple, well produced, easy to teach, easy to play. It's cooperative, which I like already. Highly recommend this one, Jupiter Rescue.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!
There.